Hi guys, welcome back to August Love Story, the channel. My name is Artieka.
I'm Tommy.
And today we are reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 7. That episode is titled Jamaican Me Crazy. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell so you'll be notified whenever we release a new video or short.
Yeah.
And like this video. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So the couple that I wrote the least about was Kirsten and Shaquille.
I literally wrote two things about them.
I did too, and in two different places. So while they were on their last day of the honeymoon, all the couples got together for a final farewell dinner of sorts, even though they're all going home technically together. In this farewell dinner, I believe it was, who was it? Was it Clint and Gina who asked everybody to rate their relationship?
Yeah, I think so.
Kirsten and Shaquille's ratings were 7. She said a 7 and then he agreed with her. So this is on a scale of 1 to 10, how they think everything is going 8 days into their relationship. The only other thing that I wrote about them was when they got back from Jamaica to their neutral apartment. They talked about moving in together and washing clothes, and he was like, I don't have no special laundry recipe. I just put the clothes in there.
Yeah.
And I was like,
one thing I did catch on to was she was like, I wash your clothes separately or first, yeah. I was like, that's cool. That's a sign of, okay, you're coming into this thing not like, basically I'm thinking she's a selfish person. That was my honest opinion of her, like that she's very selfish and she's not going to understand him, right? But, you know, her saying that is kind of like making me think, okay, well, maybe she's not as selfish as I thought she was. And maybe she's actually is starting to like him more. Because initially she wasn't too attracted to him and everything like that. So I like to see them on a trajectory that's, okay, we started at a -2, so now maybe we're at a 3, you know?
I was putting them on ground 0.
But it really wasn't much for them this week just because I think everything else overshadowed them.
And I think that's all right because we're still not over and Airris said.
Right. Or Clint did.
No. I'm talking about specifically him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Man.
Specifically him.
Yeah, because I was like, man, how do you... Anyway, we're not talking about that. But they did talk about them getting over... I feel like everybody in this, you know, this group is a little bit more mature than the like few seasons ago. Because they're able... Yeah, we are on the honeymoon. That is true. But you're seeing a lot of people talk about, hey, we got into an argument or we had a little riff and we're good now, you know?
Yeah, some of these riffs don't make sense though, but...
Yeah. But overall, I like the trajectory that Shaquille and Kirsten... That's her name. That's how you say it. I be wanting to say Kristen, but
we know it's not
Kristen. But I like the trajectory that they're going on. So,
anywho, next up, I wrote the least about was Nicole and Chris. Going back to the dinner, they both rated the relationship an 8.2. They are absolutely the everything's great couple because we get one every season.
Yeah,
everything's great until it's not.
Right.
So essentially, she said that they're both at an 8.2 and they just don't know enough about each other yet. The morning that they're getting ready to leave, Nicole comes out on the balcony to Chris crying.
Man, I just knew somebody died.
Well, he started talking about the dog, and I was like, dang, the dog died. Then we find out that there's a 2-dog restriction on the apartment, and they have 3 dogs.
Man, the thing for me is like, all right, I love dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't have one right now, but when
I couldn't take a dog right now.
Yeah. No, but I'm a dog lover.
Look, not unless the dog gonna change a diaper.
Right. That'll be amazing.
Right.
But I'm a dog lover, but I'm not gonna cry like that. Like, I mean, like, boo-hooing over the fact that he couldn't bring his dogs.
And it wasn't even
house.
that it was said that he couldn't bring his dogs. They just needed to devise a plan for there to be one less dog there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to be completely honest with y'all. Just bring all 3 dogs. Like, are they finna do random checks in your apartment during this 8 weeks?
I don't know, man. But it's I don't feel like that was cry-worthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And who is me, right? I don't have a dog.
What did Andrew Caldwell say? Who are me to judge?
Right. But it's like, it was to me, in my opinion, it was an overreaction to the idea that somebody's dog is going to be left out, and he has 2 of them. Mm-hmm. So initially, my thought would be, I'm going to bring my 2 dogs, and her dog will be the stepchild until we all can get.
Well, that's selfish.
Well, what else are you going to do? That will be my initial thought. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I got 2, she got 1. Her dog is the odd man out. So then we come up with an idea. Like, I'm not going to sit there and cry. Because my thing is, how does that affect her idea? Which obviously it didn't change anything. She probably saw it as, oh, he has a heart. Right? But it's like, man, sometimes you got to save your tears because you got to come up with some stuff because you don't have the time. Right? Because they were leaving that day or the next day or whatever it was.
They were leaving that day.
And you need to figure out how you're going to do this if you just found this out. So, and the way he was crying, it kind of threw me back just because, like, man,
you don't deal with crying well in general.
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Nah, I don't. I mean, I deal with it.
Not well.
I just don't feel like that was a crying moment.
No, I wouldn't. I don't know how I would feel about him crying in that moment. Like not how I would feel, how I would process it. Because I would like, bro, crying's not going to solve this. Let's figure out how we're going to solve this. Yeah. I would maybe ask one of the couples that doesn't have a dog. I don't know if there is a couple that doesn't have a dog. But
I don't know.
Can our dog stay at y'all's apartment? And, like, come and get them every evening. I don't know. Like, it would be us trying to figure it out, though.
It would be a plan devised. It wouldn't be I'm going to sit here and take my time. Because, like, the way she walked out, because she was thrown for a surprise. Mm-hmm. She was like, babe, what's wrong? What's wrong? And when he said, we can only have 2 dogs, I almost cut the TV off. I was almost done with it. Like, this dude here it's something else.
You're ridiculous.
No, he was.
I'm saying to get mad enough to want to turn the TV off for it.
I'm just saying, though, man. He's just like, the dog didn't die. The dog wasn't hurt. You just have to come up with an idea or a plan to make sure that all 3 dogs that both of you guys have now, can come together as a family. Because the thing about it is, the dogs still got to meet each other.
Mm-hmm. Anywho, done talking about these dogs. Essentially, she called her dad, and her dad agreed to take the dog for a little bit if needed. And they would like rotate the dog out with her family as well at her apartment. So they essentially they've quote unquote figured it out. They talked to an executive producer. I don't know why they needed to talk to the executive producer after they talked to her dad, but
they did that before they talked to her dad, I think. I think she was just calling her dad just to be like, hey, we may have to come up with, you know.
Her daddy said, okay. They get back to Nashville. They're sitting on the couch, and essentially they determined that they don't love each other yet. And I was like,
I wish she stopped asking him, man.
It's like, why are we here?
Because he want to be genuine when he says, I love you.
I think that is this is how they're going to be pigeonholed.
Mm-hmm.
Is the do they love each other couple? And quite frankly, nobody cares.
Yeah, because it's different. She asked him, do he love him? Does he love her? Like 3 times already. Mm-hmm. And they haven't even talked about what love means to him or what love is to him.
Not on camera anyway.
Right. So it's like the weirdest question she be asking him. Who you got next, man?
Jasmine and Airris. So Airris has a diary cam moment about their attractiveness not to each other not being the same, but he's hoping that they're able to leave Jamaica on a good note. That was after I didn't mention that, I'm sorry. That was after the conversation at the dinner table about them rating the relationship. He said a 7, she said a 7.5 or an 8. When he said 7, they flashed to him saying that her attractiveness was a 4 or a 5 on a scale of 1 to 10. Like she thinks he's a 12 and he's like at 4 or 5 with her. I don't think that's fair because the conversation at the table was rating the relationship. Mm-hmm. The other conversation was rating how attracted he is to her. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have to be on a scale of 1 to 10, an 8 or above for them to have a relationship that's not having a lot of bumps in the road.
Yeah.
Which is essentially what a 7 is. It's just, it ain't going bad.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it's not going bad.
Yeah.
So he gets up to go work out the next morning and they have breakfast after his workout. I laughed because he was like, oh, thank you for having breakfast ready for me. I was like, she didn't cook this.
Right. It came while you was away.
Like, she called them and told them what y'all wanted, but she ain't cooked nothing.
That's probably what he meant.
That's one of the things that I miss the most about going to an all-inclusive resort.
Yep.
Like, when we got back from Jamaica, we were like, how are we going to eat every day? What is life?
But they had like we didn't get room service like that. We could have, but we didn't.
We only got room service when we arrived.
Mm-hmm. Because we was immediately hungry.
Right. She says that the last few days have been complicated for her. And they talked about the rating, the relationship. I think that she's making these complications for herself because her inner self is struggling with, will he ever fall in love? Mm-hmm. And girl, we don't know.
But
you're not going to find out on the next week's episode of Dragon Ball Z.
I honestly believe that Airris is in a position where he's never been in, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's never been in a position where the lady that he's courting, he's not 100% attracted to. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what he's struggling with mentally because he's like, well, I'm married to her. So he has the I'm married part, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm not 100% attracted to her, and how do I deal with this? And it's coming off wrong completely. You know, it's coming off like ill, you're nasty, you know, type of deal to her. You just heard Lily, didn't you?
No.
Ill.
No, I didn't hear her when you said that.
Yeah, but it's like it's coming off that way to her, and for her, she's seeing it that way, and then she's saying, "Oh, he doesn't know how to fall. He doesn't fall in love, and I fall in love, so I love everybody," you know, type of deal. And she's like, "How is this going to progress?" And it's like you kind of just got to relax.
Mm-hmm.
You got to take it what you got and enjoy the moment. If you can't enjoy the moment, you're going to ruin the process. And for both of them. And then he like, I like the idea. I like the fact that he's telling her, hey, I need my me time. You know, that's something that I noticed that they both have brought up quite a bit. It's like, hey, I need my me time, because that was an adjustment for me when it came to you, because you always will say, well, I need some alone time. I want to be alone. And for me, that never made sense.
Yeah.
Because it was like, but why you in a relationship if you need some alone time? Like, we can kick it. We can hang out and stuff like that. But I totally get it now, you know, for like from you and the experience with you. That alone time is important because it rejuvenates, you know, the person that needs it. And they come back a better person. So they're able to have a conversation with each other when he comes back. And I'm kind of like jumping around everywhere. So
you are.
Never mind me.
Go ahead.
But they kind of come back like once he's done with his alone time and his workout. And they talk about, what did he say? We're like friends. And I know if I got into a car wreck or something, you know, you'll be there and by my bed and everything like that. And she was like, yeah. But then the confessional, she was like, I'm somebody's wife. I ain't trying to be somebody's friend, but I'm like, that's where it starts. Like, it has to grow from the friend, but
I thought about the wiping the butt part, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
He did say.
And I'm married. I don't want to wipe my kids' butts. I do it, but I don't want to.
Yeah. But if you had to, you would wipe mine.
I would be like, do we have some insurance that covers this service?
Man, the stuff I've had to wipe yours.
When
you had the baby, I had to help clean you up.
Oh yeah. Man.
I was damn near a doctor.
Not gonna lie. Like, you almost had to deliver Lily.
Yeah.
You almost had to deliver Quad. People was in the room.
And people was in the room. I was like, hey, you need to come on. We at the 45-minute mark. It's coming. He's coming.
So essentially, I think where Tommy missed was they went to his apartment.
Yeah, I didn't talk about that.
No, first they talked about what their apartment was going to be like the design. They came up with modern chic, but you need to know that Black people live there.
That was funny. That was funny.
They get back, they visit his place. She's very surprised that like his shoes are set up how they are, and you know, he has a gym. He was like, thought I was kidding? Like,
yeah. I don't know why she would be surprised about that. He looks like a person that is.
But if he said, I have a gym, maybe she was thinking that it was just like a few weights.
Like, he got 2 dumbbells and a jump rope.
Yeah.
And he called this little space a gym.
I don't know.
I can't wait till I tell people, yeah, man, I'm just in the gym and I'm at home. Be looking in that thing like The Rock. Ran the chain and stuff.
Anyways, let's focus. Come back. Bring it back. They did talk about like his dad and his uncle were a double funeral. I know his dad got murdered. I'm not exactly sure what happened to his uncle, but he remembers that, and he's like, he feels like one day his dad is just gonna come back. And I was like, get that grief is weird. I actually posted that on Facebook yesterday. I was like, grief is a very weird thing.
Yeah.
and it like hits you like a ton of bricks out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The one thing that I missed was them getting to the neutral apartment space and, you know, him saying he wants the left drawer in the bathroom. He wants the left side of the drawers in the dresser. And then he picked out his side of the closet.
He told her, don't touch the top drawer. I was like, dang, man, you're going to have your extra condoms and stuff in there.
I get it, because even though I'm not an only child, in my household growing up, I grew up like an only child. Mm-hmm. And that's one advantage of it just being you and the parent. Nobody's in your stuff.
And I grew up having to take a bag to the bathroom every time. Even when I started using different toothpaste. The only thing I think I kept in the bathroom was my toothbrush, I think.
And see, I've never
and that
like
wouldn't
that.
Like as I got older, I started putting my toothbrush in my room.
See, I never lived life like that outside of college.
Yeah.
And even in college, I could still keep some things in the bathroom because my dorm was a suite.
Yeah.
So I only shared the bathroom with the people on the other side of the bathroom.
Yeah.
Then in an apartment, it was just the people in my apartment. And then when I moved to the other apartment, it was just the person on my side of the apartment.
No, man. Like, as I got older growing up, because I mean, like, at one point it was 3 men or 3 males and 3 females in the house. And you would never know who was going to sleep over or whatnot. So it was always moving parts in the house. And I just grew up knowing, okay, if I want to keep my stuff, I got to take my stuff to my room.
And see, I've never grown up or been in that type of, I don't want to call it chaos, but it feels chaotic.
Like it feels chaotic, but for me, it was life.
Was your norm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying though. But like if I had spent more time at my grandmother's house, it would have been like that because there were always people at her house. But my mom, I think because my mom grew up in that chaos, because my mom is one of 8.
Yeah.
Being in that type of chaotic environment growing up, once you move into your own place, you like, nah, y'all can't come over here. That's where my mother is.
Yeah.
So we didn't have people at the house like that.
Nah, so it's for me, it wasn't weird that he was like it just sounded real weird. Hey, this is my drawer.
I get it though. Like, you are very particular about your space, and you are, and I'm not talking about you, but I'm talking about him.
Talking about me.
But
no, I'm not.
Let's not go there. He's very particular about his space, and he's setting his boundary early. Now, a lot of the things that he was walking around making, quote unquote, executive decisions about, I was like, bro, stop.
Yeah.
But she was okay with it, it seemed.
I just don't feel like she's going to give a lot of pushback to him. And if she does, I wonder what it's going to be about. Like, what's her... Nah, you can't. But all his executive decisions were small to me. Mm-hmm. The left side is something with the left, you know? Like, my thing is, the less traveled side of the room, that's the side I want you on. You know, or which side is closest to the door? That's the side I don't want you on. You know, I want to be closest to the door. And, you know, everything else is like, okay, cool. But the reason why, like, the less traveled side of the room, because I don't want to have to walk over your stuff.
I'm messier of the two of us.
Yeah. So it's like, because we did that once, and I was like, whoop, don't want to do that no more. And I get that part, and I think that's okay. But it's some things that I was like, that's silly, man.
Anyway, we spent a lot more time on that.
Yeah, we did. We did. We started talking about something else.
So we got 2 couples left. Would you like to do Clint
and Gina
fine. Or Dominique and Mackenzie?
We can go Clint and Gina.
All right, Clint and Gina. We get to the dinner and Clint gets up and makes a speech. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Oh, starting off, Gina had a diary cam moment about what Clint said and how she feels about it. She says it's a huge red flag that he didn't see anything wrong. He sat down and talked with Chris and Airris about what happened. And Airris offered some insight that it could be an insecurity, but it also could just be what she said and how you said it. Like, he was just like...
What we were saying?
He was just basically like, you needed to word it differently. And he was about to argue with that. Then he was like, yeah, I probably do. Then he said he needs to seek his inner mind and figure out what his soul says. I was like, bro, just go apologize.
Right, man. That's the simplest thing to move forward with.
He did indeed apologize to her. We didn't see the apology on camera. Gina told us before the dinner started that he apologized. When they get to the dinner, Clint made this, he stood up to make a speech to the group. And then they asked Gina, how does she feel post-apology? She's like, it's cool. We're okay. Nicole still is like, nope, not seeing it for Clint. Tommy yells out at the TV. I can't remember who said it, but somebody said that she reminds them of Louisa, Mirabelle from Encanto's sister. And Tommy was like, I can't unsee it now.
Yep. I can't.
As they're going around the table, it was Gina that asked everyone to rank their relationships on a scale of 1 to 10. Clint said 5.5. Gina said a solid 5. So they are both in the agreement that we run of the mill. Like, it's been some dumb stuff. We've had a few good moments. We just gonna call it.
I feel
right
like
at the middle.
I feel like Gina is faking. Like, she's just trying to make it through this thing because she's already decided that this ain't gonna work out for me. That's what I feel like, but just only because she's too as hurtful as it was to her, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think at the beginning of the season, she talked about weight being a thing that she's kind of like shaky on. You know, she's real into working out and stuff like that because she, you know, I don't know the word that I'm looking for. Like, she's self-conscious about her weight.
I don't remember any of this. Not to say that it didn't happen.
I may not be making it up, but I don't think I am. But
you could be. You killed off a whole family.
I did. This season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good for doing stuff like that. So I may or may not be making it up. But, you know, I feel like she was so, he apologized. We're good now. Mm-hmm. You know, I just feel like that's not.
Well, I would much rather that than be like Morgan with Ben, where you're dragging stuff on and on and on that doesn't need to be drug on.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to give it a go, or if you're not, like, say that. Yeah. But let's not pretend and drag it out. That's annoying.
It's definitely a lot better for us to consume. But it's just like, is that a realistic comeback, or are you just putting on? Because I mean, like, ultimately, the thing is, we never heard him apologize, but she said he did. Okay, we're gonna go with that. But he never apologized. He offended the rest of the girls, and he never apologized to them, which I thought that's what he stood up to do.
Well, he clarified what he said. Basically, like, I ain't talking to none of y'all because I ain't dating none of y'all. I never dated any of y'all. So if you was offended, that's on you.
Well, I guess it's the Southerner in me. Like, hey, I don't want to offend no female, so I apologize for the offense, right? And it means not, like, if he's saying, hey, I want to clarify what I'm saying, he understands that there was some type of wrongdoing or wrong saying or misunderstanding. I apologize for the misunderstanding. This is what I meant.
Me and my best friend had a conversation about this recently. I do a lot of webinars at work, right? Yeah. And there was this one webinar that was like 75% of the time, all the person wants is an apology. And I was like, I have a problem sometimes giving the apology, especially when I didn't do anything wrong. Like, what am I up here apologizing to you for? He was like, even if I did something wrong, I'm not apologizing.
Yeah.
And I was like, in that moment, I kind of thought about it. I was like, if Clint, and this is how I feel about it, if the thought process behind what he said was, I am just telling you who I used to date, like the type of women that I would go for, why do I need to apologize?
Well, it's. I think me in my case, right? Mm-hmm. The way I approach that is, dang, I ain't mean to offend them. You know, I'm just trying to make sure all of us have a good time. But we was talking about X, Y, and Z.
And so he's like, it's your fault to be offended.
Yeah, right. Which he's not wrong, but to smooth things over, right? Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, I don't want, it doesn't matter if you're offended or not. Now, certain things I'm like, I just don't care. Mm-hmm. But quick fixes like that, because it was a misunderstanding of what's going on and just understanding the weight issue, right? With women in general. Hey, I'm sorry about that. You know, I'm sorry that you misunderstood it. Hey, this is what I meant.
Your fault for misunderstanding.
But you can't say that because that's offensive in some type of way.
Right. So I'm going to just not
do it. But then you also think of it like this too. Mm-hmm. These women that he offended are also in his wife's ear because they all are
part of
the process, and they're going to have times where they talk to each other. And some of them are going to be like friends, are going to become great friends after this. And so it's like, if you understand that the peanut gallery is in your wife's ear, why would you?
I think that no matter what Clint does, Nicole's not going to like him.
Yeah, I think so. But you're not trying to please Nicole.
Right. And that's why it's like, I'm not going to apologize, because no matter what I say or do, you're still going to feel the same way.
But then could it not be a sense of, if I apologize to them, what would Gina think?
No, I think he apologized to the person that he
apologized to Gina. But then if you could also go deeper and be like, well, maybe she'll appreciate if I apologize to them too. But we don't know. And I digress.
I'm going to say, can't be concerned. He'll be like Ruben Studdard. This is his sorry for 2004.
Stop it. Man, next year that'll be 20 years.
Mm-hmm. So they get back to Nashville and talk about their apartment and discuss having friends over. He was like, he wants to have a Mexican fiesta. And they talk about Hank, which is Gina's dog, and where Hank is going to go. So she was like, Hank's not allowed at the shop, so I guess he's just going to be chilling here. I was like,
or go with him.
I was like, why would Hank be at the shop?
Man, you'd be surprised.
No, I wouldn't. I've worked multiple places where the owners and managers have brought their dogs to work every day. Mm-hmm. But that's all I have for them. Last but not least is Dominique and Mackenzie. Their rating on a scale of 1 to 10 was 7.5 for both. Over breakfast, she said that she wants him to do more things without her having to push him to do it. And she also told him that she thinks it's really crazy that he signed up to do Married at First Sight, considering his personality of not being a real adventurous, thrill-seeking type of guy. Now I was like, getting married isn't thrill-seeking.
Dominique is becoming more and more of a person that I really like throughout this process. Because at first I thought, she was going to just be... Yeah. she's pointing out all the flaws in Mac's plans.
Mm-hmm.
The idea that he's not as adventurous as her, like, I think that's flawed thinking, because he doesn't have to be, like you said, to get married, because they could have found him a person that doesn't like to do things. Now, it makes it difficult because now you have to find the things that they like to do. What she should have said, and what I've been saying this whole time, is allow him to suggest things that he wants to do, that he's more likely to do, because if you do that, he doesn't complain about the things so much. They've been doing everything, and he spoke about that. They've been doing everything that she wanted to do. And not one time have they came up and did something he chose to do. And what he was saying was, it's your way or the highway.
He basically was like, it started off as us trying to get to know each other, and now it's, what can I do to not piss her off?
Right.
And I get that. Like, he feels like he's walking on eggshells through this relationship because the jokester that he is gets under her skin. He was like, I'm treating you like I would treat my friends or my brother. And she like, I ain't your brother.
Yeah.
But
it's crazy because she doesn't understand that, man, sometimes that's a role you have to play. Like, you like, that's the beauty of, I think, of marriage, and the difference from just being a girlfriend to being a wife or a husband or a boyfriend, is that these roles magnify once you say I do, because it's a sense of you become my real emergency contact, right? You become that person that I confide into every day. If I have a major problem, the answer comes with me and you coming up with it. So she doesn't understand that that's a role that's going to come into play. You're going to have to become his mom, his brother, his sister, in that sense, his wife, his at some point he's going to have to lead you. So the role is going to flip there. You're going to have to be all of these roles at some point in your relationship. So I get her saying, I'm not your brother, but it's like, you have to understand what he's saying. He's just trying to encompass every relationship he has with you, because you have to be the ultimate relationship.
I don't know. They're gonna have to.
They're not gonna make it. It's what it is.
Well, I'm talking about to get to the ending of the 8 weeks. They're going to have to find a middle ground of being able to coexist.
And it starts with a lot of, the man always looks to please the woman, and it's not looking the other way. For their relationship, it's definitely not looking as if she's trying to please him, in any type of way. The attraction is there, but it's like, what else do you got? Because it just bothers me that they never even talked about the things he wants to do while they were in Jamaica.
Well, he wanted to sit on the beach, and she was like, no.
Do that. You have to.
Every day, every minute of every day can't be spent on an adventure.
Right.
We have to rest even on vacation. As they're getting ready to leave, they talk about being happy to be in an apartment and having more space. As someone that has had to stay in a hotel with another person,
I had to do that too.
This happened when our apartment caught on fire. That was the longest, 2 weeks? That was the longest 2 weeks of my life. It felt like 2 months, because you only have a limited amount of space. You can't say, hey, go in the living room. The living room is the foot of the bed. Like in the apartment that we stayed in. I don't really remember the layout of where they stayed. And I know they showed it. I don't remember, and I'm not interested in going back to watch it to jog my memory.
Mm-hmm.
But usually in a hotel, at a resort, it's the same setup. There's a bed. You got a table and some chairs over to the side. You can walk out on the balcony. That's the most space you have from another person. And being on top of each other like that for 7 days and it being someone that you don't know can be a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't have the buffer of, I'm going to work.
Yeah. No, I get that.
So I can imagine that he does want to get somewhere to have more space. They went to visit his friend's parents' house.
Where he lives
to get his things. I just realized I had a sticker of Lily stuck to the side of my face. He was like, downstairs is mine. And it was just like a little nook with a couch and a TV. And then there was a bedroom. And she was like, I can't judge this space.
He didn't put up any pictures. Like nothing was his in the space. And so she was more so thinking like, I can't judge you based off of what they did.
And see, I wouldn't think that he would put up pictures.
I wouldn't think he would put up pictures, but he didn't have anything. He's still like, nothing was there for him.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like,
it basically, Dominique, she was more so pointing out the fact that, and I think they did talk about it later on. She was pointing out the fact that, like, you're just, like, why did you sign up for Married at First Sight? You know?
No. I agree with that whole conversation. I'm just thinking through if I was staying with someone else's family, right? The very first thing that I'm doing is not putting a picture of my family or myself or something up. That's just not on my list of things to do. Like, I'm trying to figure out my life here. Like, granted, it was only for about a week. When I first moved to Georgia, I stayed with my cousin. When I left that house, it looked exactly like it did when I got to that house.
Yeah.
I had and this was my family. I had no desire to try to change this space because I knew at some point, and I didn't know when, but I knew at some point I was going to find an apartment and it was going to be mine.
Mac just didn't, like I did the same thing with my cousin, is that, you know, I had my Xbox, my TV, she had a mattress for me, and that's it, and clothes. And my clothes were in a basket, you know. So then I had a little small room, my basket of clothes, my shoes, and that's it, you know, until I got my apartment, had a few more things and, you know, moved on. But the thing about it is, the most important question that Dom was, or conversation that she was having with him was, you moved from Michigan to California, from California to Nashville, and you've been here 5 months. She was like, I don't plan to move from Nashville. So how is this thing gonna work? Where you're seemingly just a roaming person, and he had no answer for it. So it's like, you don't have roots set up anywhere.
No, and I got that part of it completely. Like, I agree with her wholeheartedly. Like, I don't know why it never hit me that it was Michigan to California, California to Nashville. I was thinking Michigan to Nashville. And the reason I said that is because his mom was like, what if he wants to move back to Michigan?
And I'm like, that's probably a conversation they've had or been having. Because his mom probably not comfortable with him living with somebody else's parents when everybody else is okay with it. And he's been there 5 months. I just don't get signing up for Married at First Sight. Like, that just does not make sense to me.
I don't know. There's a lot, like, I was trying to find out more about this cannabis business that he has. And I was like, even that seems very ambiguous.
Like, why would you move to Nashville where that's not legal?
Michigan makes sense. It's
California.
Legal. California makes sense. It's legal. My next thought would be so Michigan, I've lived somewhere with really rough winters. California, I've lived somewhere really, really nice all year long. At this point, I'm moving for opportunity or weather. If I could continue doing whatever I do from anywhere, like if it was a remote thing, then I'm moving for weather or my best chance at starting a family. If those are the things that I want, right?
Yeah.
Nashville just sounds like I'm going to be gone a lot.
Yeah.
Because the business doesn't operate there.
But Nashville, I can understand, okay, I want to move to Nashville. I think that's what he moved to Nashville for, was to find love, quote unquote. But I get that part. But is finding love in Married at First Sight? Within 5 months of you being there.
Statistically, the answer is no.
Right. It just puts you in another friend group. Now you have access to more people. You know, I just don't get that line of thinking. And I'm glad Don pointed it out, but he didn't have an answer for it. Only thing he could say is, I see your point. Which is not comforting to her. And it's like, how do y'all succeed with this?
Yeah.
I think the experts might have failed Dom on this one.
And we thought it was going to be the other way around.
Definitely thought it was going to be the other way around.
Interesting.
Yeah.
She told him, or I think this was the confessional, she said she normally goes for guys that are more established and that own their own homes. I was like, at 25, guys that own their own homes are few and far between. So it tells me she dates older men.
Yeah.
Which wasn't a stretch in their age difference for her. Maybe for him, but not for her.
I don't even think the age thing came up with them.
Well, I always thought about it, especially because she's 25.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think they are. It's a big, big hill that they have to climb.
This light feels really bright.
Yeah.
I don't. The reasons that I don't think they're going to make it are evolving.
Yeah. Definitely.
But my stance hasn't changed about me not thinking that they're going to make it. I think that they're just going to be an interesting couple to watch.
Yeah.
And they're not making it in this. You have a question for this week's episode? Because I do not yet again.
Man, does Clint need to apologize to the ladies? Like, yeah,
should he have? Because I think that the opportunity may be missed now. Because at this point,
the opportunity is gone.
We gone home. Like, should that have been something he said during his stand up speech?
Yeah.
All right, there we have it. You got anything you need to say to the people?
No, you want to say it?
No. Join
us tomorrow morning for our coffee break. Live. And then color. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you'll see when our videos are uploaded. Tommy is still doing Black History Facts. Tomorrow is the coffee break. Sunday, we are live on Jack and Glenn's channel, or I should say Tommy is live. I am usually in and out.
Artieka's usually going to the store. I think at this point, I think she's doing it on purpose. I don't know.
We gotta eat. Sundays are my grocery shopping days. That's it.
All right, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.